Hey, what's going on there? Oh, I just completely messed that up. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scarfinger, and this is Scarcasm. Woohoo! We back. I'm back with Chase. I'm not by myself this time. That was great. Because like I was explaining to Chase before the show started, recording that show by myself was kind of nerve wracking. Most of it, I was trying to figure out if I still knew how to do this. Which was the hard part. Like, it's like, okay, do I still know how to, do a show, without someone just to kind of bounce off of? And turns out I still kind of knew how to do it. It's not something that I really want to do. But I think for, because like I explained on the previous show, there are some things in the background and I don't exactly know how those things are going to work out. So there's a chance that I might have to do shows like that for a little bit. Like trying to make sure that I still make sure that I have content here and things of that nature. So it'll be, but as of right now, everything is cool. But I still don't know how, that whole thing is going to play out. And like, thank you to the couple of people that still checked on me, even though I told y'all not to. But I will say, like, even though there seems like there's possibly some dark days ahead, I'm living proof. The fact that I'm still here and I'm still doing this is 100% proof that, it seems really dark before the dawn, and you can always come out of this stuff no matter what's going on. Just come on in, let's have a chat and let's just be family, man, because at the end of the day, like, we are just as much family as like some of y'all blood. So, like, some of y'all don't talk to your blood as much as y'all talk to us. You know what I mean? Or some of y'all don't listen to your blood, as much as you listen to us. Like, you tune into this, you tune into this and all of the other shows around here every week. It's appreciated. First of all, it's very much appreciated, but also, like, that's the kind of atmosphere I've always wanted to create with Scarcasm. Like, Scarcasm is not just like, news and information podcast, finger guns. No,
it's totally
it's a conversation.
Use what you just did as a transition. It just we're going to go into games now. It's never really been that, but is really, like, Scarcasm has always been what the kind of podcast that I like, where it's just mostly just a conversation between friends, which is like the best part about all of this. That, and that's how I want to keep it. So, like, even if one of us is by ourselves, I like the idea of, like, I'm talking to you about what's happening. Yeah, because we don't
with me
really talk to each other outside of the podcast very often. So when we do the podcast, we're literally like catching up with each other. Yeah,
and it's like it's like the weekly call to your bro.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you the last conversation I've had with my actual brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you the last conversation I had with my actual brother, but I remember what the conversation was, and it was just a long conversation until he had to go to work. We just sat around and just talked about stuff and, like, just life and, how's everything? How's the fam and all that other stuff, man? Like, everything was good. So I talked to you more than I talked to my brother. You know what I mean? I don't call my little sister very often because I have 4 sisters, and the sister that's directly below me, if I call her, that's a 3-hour conversation. No matter what. If I call her, that's a 3-hour conversation. That's why I don't call. I don't call because I know, I just like, man, do I really got 3 hours right now?
Start a podcast with her and you be up there with Game Enthused.
Man, I don't know if I don't know if the world is ready for my conversations with my little sister Michelle. I don't think the world is ready for that. Like, because we go all over the place, and like, there's a lot of like, like discussions about like the nouns of our lives, like the people, places, and things of our lives, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if the world is ready for that. I think if she was into something like this, I think that she would succeed. I know that she's very similar to me in that I think she could do this as effortlessly as I do. Even though, like, I make this look easy, but like, this is really, really hard. Like, it is really hard on me because like one thing, I had to start making sure that I wore shirts for podcasts, even if back when it was just on Skype and we couldn't see each other. I had to make sure that I wear a shirt because I sweat like a motherfucker while recording podcasts. Like, it's bad. Like, it's real bad. Like, my underboobs be all like moist. It's bad. It's real bad. So like,
you're doing podcasts and you're over here looking like Jordan Peele and that. There's a sweat running off of him.
Yes. Yes. I try not to let it show too much out up here. Cause like, but like under here, like under my boobs right here, my man boobs, is usually pretty moist. And like in my waist area, like where my fat sits on the rest of my lap is usually kind of moist in there. So like, I gotta make sure that I keep a shirt on and kind of tuck it a little bit so it can catch all that.
You just made like half of our audience cringe with the word moist, like said like 15 times.
I know, but see, here's the thing. I don't understand why that word bothers people. Like, no one has ever been able to explain it. I know that it does bother people, but I never understood why.
I guess, like, when you think of something that's moist would be like, I don't know, like sexual organs.
I don't mind getting my sexual organ moist. Like, I don't know what kind
after you start doing things.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, look, I can get it moist before I do my thing. You know what I'm saying? That's how your boy roll. That's how your boy roll. So I don't get it. I don't get it. So someone just, you know what? If that word bothers you, then let me know what it is about that word that bothers you so much. Like, it's just weird to me that like that word bothers people in that capacity. So yeah, man, how was your Father's Day?
It was
man?
good. We just kind of chilled, man. I on Saturday night I got some pork in the slow cooker and I made some barbecue. I went to Walmart and I guess a lot of people had the same idea I did. So they eat when it comes to like shoulder roast which is normally what you would make barbecue out of, or some sort of roast.
Butt.
They were all gone except for like 9-pound freaking roast. So I grabbed a 4-pound loin, which is kind of like chicken if you really think about it. So it was a little bit leaner, you know what I mean? But it was really good. I never made barbecue out of, tenderloin. But it turned out really well. There's a brand called Sticky Fingers, and they have one that's a sweet Kentucky bourbon barbecue sauce, and I used that, some brown sugar, and a few other seasonings, and it turned out really well. So,
okay. And are you from Carolina? Do you put vinegar and all that in your barbecue?
If I'm going to make Carolina style, yes, but I wasn't making Carolina style. I was going for more of a Memphis like sweet. Well, I guess Kentucky sweet, more of a sweet style barbecue. But I'm down with the vinegar base, but sometimes it's not. There's some people who are just like, it's that or nothing. I'm not that. But I definitely do get the hankering for a good old Carolina barbecue every now and again.
You a straight country. I get a hankering.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Eastern Carolina barbecue, you got to get a hankering. You don't get a craving for that. You get a hankering.
A hankering. A hankering. That might be the show title. A hankering. I don't even know how to spell that. I mean, I know that's country people, but like a hankering. I gotta type that out because I don't know exactly how to spell it. Well, actually, hold on. I just typed it how it sounds, and the spell check did not actually correct it. I guess that's how you spell it. You spell it just a hankering. All right.
Yeah, most kind of southern words are spelled exactly like they sound. They actually misspell things to spell it more like you say it.
Yeah, except for like some of our city names.
Yeah.
Some of our city names. I just saw recently a thing where they were talking about city names in Virginia. Where they did one of those quizzes where they just get random people and it was like, how do you say this? And it's like, they're just saying all kinds of shit other than what it actually is. But some of that shit I ain't know myself because it was some small town places in Virginia that I ain't never even heard of. But about half of the ones that I didn't know, I was like, oh yeah, that's what you call it. And they was like, saying everything but, so yeah. So I'm gonna tell you about my Father's Day weekend. My weekend started on Thursday. I went to Baltimore on Thursday.
Pooh Bear.
Because my Pooh Bear graduated from 5th grade on Thursday. And I had to, my car no one trusts my car to get me there. Like my car is a hunk of junk. So my car's a hunk of junk. So I had to, okay. You want me to keep going? You want me to just pause? I mean, I could just pause for the calls, but like, why do that? I can just talk to y'all. I'll come back to the story about that. But man, how y'all doing? Y'all good? I'm all right. Chilling. I wonder what's going on in the background right now because it seems like there's a lot going on in the background. It seems like Young Rouse is young riled up. You know what I'm saying? Like it seems like there's a whole lot going on back there with Young Rouse, but I don't necessarily want to tell my story without Chase being here. But I'm kind of at a loss for what to talk about instead. So I'm just kind of in between right now. You know what? I can tell you about something else. Let me tell you about something else. While I was on my trip, I listened to the Beyonce Homecoming audio because it was available on Google Play, the Google Music, and I very much enjoyed it. I thought that it was very well crafted, with the inclusion of like the Black college experience, which is like marching bands and stepping and like the dances and all of that stuff. I thought all of it was like extremely well crafted. Like it was like Michael Jackson level, well crafted of a show. Like it was like Michael Jackson level show. And like it was, and like the cool part about it is like, I listened to the audio before I actually watched it on Netflix. And one thing I like about the Netflix thing is there was 2 different shows, and I'm guessing it was 2 different shows. And then one of the shows they were wearing like yellow, and the other one they were wearing like pink. And sometimes the Netflix version of the show kind of cuts back and forth between them. So like it's the exact same show, and it's in the exact same part, but then like they're all, everything that they're wearing just changes. I thought that was cool. Because there's a lot of like recorded concerts and stuff like that where they do everything exactly the same. And then they, just cut and splice the best parts from each of the shows. But like the fact that they just jump back and forth. The only thing that was really different about it was the color change was like really dope. And like, I also know somebody who was a part of the show, which made it a lot more interesting because I was looking for the person that I knew. Like even like
like, not just like looking at Beyonce or looking for Beyonce in the sea of people that she had on the stage, but and of course it was focused on her, but like looking for the person that I knew was like really cool. There's a gentleman that's playing the multi-tenor drums, and he was in the band with my cousin. And in fact, one year they both played the snare and they stood next to each other. So like they know each other pretty well. And just the fact that of knowing somebody just the fact of knowing somebody that was like a part of something like this, man, there's something going on. But just the fact of knowing somebody that's a part of something like this is just really kind of cool. I don't really know very many famous people, but the fact that I knew this one person, made it cool that no matter what, like even if it was a part of the show that I wasn't really into or, something that was going on that I wasn't necessarily a fan of because I'm not really a fan of like every Beyonce song, but the stuff that I do like, I really do like. And let's be honest, my favorite song by her, she didn't actually do. She kind of did a little, like a snippet of it. She didn't actually do the song, which kind of hurt a little bit. But yeah, I thought that in general, the whole thing was extremely well crafted, and I'm currently watching the Netflix version of it, and it's just as well crafted, but there's a lot of differences. There's there's like added music in the audio version than the one that's on Netflix. Maybe they couldn't get some stuff cleared, or I don't know, or maybe they got it cleared for the audio version and not necessarily for the Netflix special. Chase just came back. I'm talking about the Beyonce Homecoming special. I listened to the audio while I was on my trip. And I thought it was extremely well done. I think it's Michael Jackson level of showmanship or showwomanship, however you want to put it, because it's Beyonce. Okay, so Young Rouse, okay? Okay, you sure?
Getting the diaper changed and he did not like that at all. So I helped out with that a little bit.
Okay.
Won't go leave her hanging.
Okay, so I had to rent a car to go to Baltimore on Thursday. Now, everything leading up to me actually getting the car or truck, I'll say, did not go as planned at all. I went on to Expedia and I signed up for everything, and then I get to the car place when I was supposed to pick up the car, and guess what? It's for next week. Nothing worked out, and like I was stressing about it. I know my daughter said, she really wanted me to be there, so I tried to do everything I could to actually be there, including actually like having to wait till the next morning to actually get the truck and haul ass to Baltimore. I missed about half of the actual graduation, but I was there and I made it there for, part of the ceremony, and, I guess to her, that's what counted, that, her dad did everything he could to make it there. But let me tell you, they gave me, a Nissan Frontier, which is a truck. It's a pickup. It's not the big one, it's not the Titan, but they gave me a Nissan Frontier. And let me tell you, that is the most amazing piece of machinery I have ever driven in my life.
Nice.
Like, bruh, it hurt giving that thing back. Like, I was like, man, I don't want to get this back at all. Like, I don't know, could I sell a kidney? You know what I mean? So I could get one of these.
Was it the fact that it was a truck, and have you had much experience just having a truck?
Well, it wasn't just the fact that it was a truck, because I was worried about it being a truck at first. But it didn't drive any differently, other than like the one time, other other than like the one time I had to make a U-turn, that's when I noticed the real difference. But other than that, like that thing drove like a dream. Except for like when it was time for me to put gas in it, like I spent almost $60 in just gas. Like it was, I mean, that thing could drink some gas. Like it was, I mean, no, it was good on gas while I was driving, but when they gave it to me, it was half full. I used most of that to get to Baltimore, and then I filled it up again before I left Baltimore, and then I filled it up all the way to return it because I returned it safely, and the guy kind of looked out for me a little bit by getting me the truck in the first place, because everything, like I said, everything went wrong. So I was like, I'm gonna fill this thing up, and bruh, that was a lot. That was a lot of money. Like, I drive, and I think part of it was the fact that, I drive a 98 Corolla. Like anything is better than what I drive. You know what I mean? Like there ain't too many things that are not better than what I actually drive every day.
Because I had a truck for a while. It was the GMC version of an S10. So it was basically kind of like a car, like performance wise. It was like a 4-cylinder or whatnot. Mm-hmm. It was good on gas and all that kind of stuff. But not having a truck, after you've kind of got used to being able to throw shit in the back or whatever, you're like, I gotta put trash in my trunk? Really?
For real?
So if we ever get into the process of wanting another vehicle, I would try to at least get like some sort of truck that at least has a back seat, because that.
Oh, this one had four doors.
Because the one I had was it was a single cab. Aiden was born when I got it, and we would be crunched into like literally the size of a bed. You know what I mean? But like. Heating and cooling, in the wintertime you throw in that heat, it ain't no time, because you're just heating or cooling this small area, so that was cool. But trying to fit more than 2 people in there, it ain't gonna happen.
Back in the day, I had a minivan, and heating or cooling a minivan is like the worst thing ever. Yeah. Like it takes so long because you have so much space. There's just a lot of space, and like you got to heat or cool that whole space in order for you to feel anything. A lot of space that you
don't even use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much, because I ended up taking the third row seats out, and I was just basically using that like a trunk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so like I never really like used it as like a mini.
Because even if you do use it, like it's got a lot of like head space that like you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just space that you could get the same amount of people into like a small SUV, not like an SUV, but like a little, I don't know what you call them.
I know what you mean, but so I went there and I did my thing. Pooh and I did lunch, and on the way back, I guess there was some sort of traffic or something, so they took me around a weird way that I've never been before. I was on like I-97. Mm-hmm. I don't know shit about I-97, dog. Like all I know is 95 and 64 around here. So like that was interesting. I know a little something about 85, but that was really, really, weird, because then I was on 97, and then they took me off into like some regular like highway streets. It still took me like 3 hours, but like I was on regular highway streets. There were stoplights and shit. But the cool thing about the stoplights is, one, I got to like refill my vape and like change batteries and all that kind of stuff when I needed to. That was the good part about being on whatever highway that was. And then like it gave me more, if I was on the interstate, I would just be driving fast and I wouldn't have time to savor the truck I didn't want to get back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once you start vaping or anything that you're kind of wanting a nice stop, every time you come up on a stoplight, all of a sudden, as soon as you're about to stop, it turns green. You're like, damn it! And normally you're like damn it, I got stopped. But when you got to do shit, you're like, damn it, I have to go.
Right. So, so the trip was cool, and I brought my daughter back with me. So she was just basically had her headphones on the whole time, complaining that my music was too loud. And I'm like, forget you. I listen to music loud. That's how I roll. And then on Saturday, we went to Water Country, which is a water park, and we had a pretty good time. It was just me, my daughter, Sherry, Rob, and Rob's daughter, and we just had a pretty good time. Like just. My girlfriend had to work, so that's why she didn't go. But like, we just had a good time. It was, it was really fun. Like, there was a couple of things that I did that I wasn't necessarily expecting to do. We got on some sort of a new ride, and I really like this new ride because it's supposed to be like what is called a water coaster, because it's a water ride, but the seats for it is not like a raft. It's a sled, and like you're all sitting in line and going through this whole thing in line. So like, being always like the biggest person on the fucking raft, for some reason, I usually end up being the one that's backwards. Like my back is turned to where we're going. Which is like the worst possible feeling because like you can't even like pretend to see what the fuck's going on. But like this, we were all in a straight line.
You were supposed to be that. I have told you numerous times.
Okay.
And you still keep. What do you?
You're supposed to be in bed, Aiden.
Go bed.
It's 9:43. Go to bed.
Oh.
No one wants you to podcast today. You know that, right? No one wants you to podcast today. But just like, went to Water Country. It was cool. Hung out, took some pictures. Rob had a GoPro, recorded some videos. I don't know, in what capacity are those videos going to come out. But like we all just had a really good time, except for, my daughter, who's kind of a party pooper, but she gets it from her grandma. But yeah, other than that, man, we just had a good time. Yesterday, we just kind of hung out. My girlfriend just bought an air fryer. So we used the air fryer for the first time, and that was cool. It's going to require like us like really figuring out like how to get the most out of it. But,
you just look up like air fryer recipes. Once you got like at least, 3 or 4 recipes out of a new appliance, you pretty much can get your use out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, it'll take some time to like really get in there and learn how to use it and learn how to use it to its best ability. Cause what it did was cool, but it wasn't like the most awesome thing ever, which we thought it was going to be, because we didn't really know what we were doing. But it was the first time. So, and then I fell asleep on the couch. I fell asleep on the couch. I was sitting there watching The Flash with my girlfriend, and like at 9:30. Now I typically go to bed at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. At like 9:30, I was watching The Flash with my girl, and then I just kind of rolled over. I fell asleep, and I guess I woke back up at like 12:30. Like, what the fuck just happened? Why did y'all let me sleep till fucking 12:30? Like that happened. But other than that, man, it was just pretty good. I'm enjoying having my daughter around, even though I keep messing with her about her K-pop obsession. Because apparently she has a K-pop obsession. I don't know if you could hear her yelling from way back in the room.
At least it's not an
obsession.
It's not an in K-pop obsession.
Explain.
With Korean pop.
Oh, yeah. And I went through a thing today where I tried to explain to my child that this whole thing about the internet and like fans of certain things. Like she's into a group called BTS. Whatever. I don't really know them. I don't really care. It's like I'm not really the type that's going to listen to a whole bunch of music that I don't understand that someone has to translate for me. That dude who only listens to like German metal. Like it's like, fuck out of here. You don't even know what they're talking about. It was like, yeah, I know what they're talking about because I see the translation. Yeah, but that's somebody telling you what they said. You don't actually know that that's what they're actually saying. You know that, right? Like anybody can tell you anything. But apparently I saw a picture of these dudes and they look real suspect. Like real suspect. Like I said, one of the dudes looks like well, not necessarily mine, but he looks like what would be someone who would be like your gay Aunt Carol. You know what I mean? Like he just kind of looked like your gay Aunt Carol. And like, you know, I mean, I don't know, like, I guess it's a part of Asian culture to have on like a ton of fucking makeup, but like these dudes had on a ton of makeup. Like these are brand new dudes. Like we talk about new dudes being on metrosexual and stuff like that as a part of their lives. But these are brand new dudes. Like just like, come on, man. Like what the fuck's going on here? Cause y'all look like real suspect. One of the motherfuckers had pink hair and all this kind of weird shit. And like, I'm just kind of like, they all look a little suspect to me. And then of course my daughter being 11 and not understanding that like this shit is not real was like, oh, don't let the army hear you say that. And I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is an army? What army? And she's just like, their fans are called the army, or I guess they have different names. But like, so I proved to her like the army doesn't give a fuck. So I actually put what I said onto Twitter because, you know, my Twitter is open. And I was just like, all right. And I hashtag BTS. Like I didn't try to hide from this shit at all to prove to her, like, no one from the army actually fucking cares. In fact, does the army actually exist? Or maybe they're just fans, but like, do they actually exist? I put it up there. I put it out there on Twitter and I said exactly what I said. I said what I said about they look like new dudes. I said that the one dude looked like your gay Aunt Carol. Like, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, nothing. I ain't heard nothing from nobody. So like, you know, in fact, the only response that I actually got from anybody is the homie G Nitro, who likes K-pop, actually liked my tweet. Like that is the only response that I've gotten. That someone actually liked my tweet instead of nobody from the army showed up. And that was just like proof to my child who believes that all of this internet stuff is real. She thinks that YouTubers are like actual, like real people and like the personas that they have on YouTube are like who they actually are. And she doesn't believe that it's
everything
all
you say right now.
Yeah, of course she is. Because whenever I say something and she thinks it's wrong, she just kind of shouts it from way in the back. But like, you know, she believes all of this stuff is real. And I tried to convince her about this stuff like years ago because she's watching all of these YouTubers and like whatever that YouTube convention is, you know, it came out one time when she was with me and she was like, did you know, YouTube Con is going on right now? And I was just like, I don't give a fuck about YouTube Con. Like, why the fuck would I give a shit about YouTube Con or whatever the fuck it's actually called? And it's called what? I can't hear you. VidCon? VidCon. It's called VidCon. It looks like I don't give a fuck about VidCon. Like, why do I give a shit? Like, these people are like these are their personas. It's not who they actually are. Like, and she actually believes that these people who are who they say they are, and they're not just playing a character. Now, granted, that's the same VidCon where the homie Boogie had an issue with old girl that was all of what's her name, Anita Sarkeesian or something like that. That's like a mega bitch and she wants like all like sexism and all that kind of stuff taken out of video games or some bullshit like that. She was like one of the reasons for Gamergate, which was stupid in its own right. but yeah, like she actually believes that this shit is real, and I'm just like, what part of this is actually real? Like there might be some authentic there might be some authentic moments in this, but most of these people are being a character in this.
Yeah, well, yeah. When they have the
I guess
authentic moments, they get banned from Twitch. Like that Dr. Disrespect just got banned from Twitch because he also got his E3 pass taken away and all this because he went live in the bathroom, which broke.
Ain't that illegal?
Yeah. So not only did he break Twitch's rules, he also broke the California rules or the California laws. So he got in like a whole bunch of trouble.
Yeah. See, I don't even. And don't that dude like wear like a fake mustache?
His mustache is real, but his hair is fake.
Oh, his mustache is real. Okay.
Yeah. Only way I knew that is because he like cheated on his wife and he did this apology video and he wasn't like in his little getup or whatever, but he still had his mustache and he was like crying on stream and stuff. But
okay, I'm gonna say one more thing before I get off on this K-pop nonsense or this BTS nonsense or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Okay, so I said that the dudes look suspect, right?
Yeah.
And then my daughter tried to claim that they weren't suspect, and I'm just kind of like, and she was just like, you don't know them, and I was like, I'm not about to go look it up, but my girlfriend decided to look it up. Is she fighting her keyboard? Like, she sounds really angry. Like, she's like, like for real. You know that video, that loop where someone is typing is like, who you finna try? Bet it ain't me. Ooh, bitch, it ain't me. Caps, caps, caps. Like it sounds like that is going on without the song. But so okay, so she tried to convince me that these dudes weren't suspect, and I said it's suspect. At least two of the dudes seem like they might have been in love with each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like they seem real suspect. But maybe that's just how I roll. I don't know nothing about K-pop. But so my girlfriend decided to actually look up, and she was looking up like these little like not like biographies, but like apparently somebody asked them some questions about things that they like and things that they, their favorite things to do and all of that kind of stuff. Like, typical teen idol nonsense. And each of them had something in their bio that was real suspect. Like, I mean, like some real suspect shit. Like one of them, like described like the person that he wanted to be with, but he didn't actually specify that it was a girl. And then there was a couple of them that had that. One of them said one of his favorite things to do was collect dolls. Another one said that his, like Disney princesses was one of his favorite things and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, each one of them had something there that was like, come on, dog. Like something ain't right about this. They all had something in there that was just kind of real suspect. And I'm just, and I don't understand how to break this to a child that like all of this stuff is manicured and put there on purpose. So in reality, that's probably not real. And all of this stuff is probably not who these people actually are. Like what grown ass man, and all of these dudes are like in their 20s. Like I think the youngest one she said is 21. All these dudes are in their 20s. And like what 20-year-old dude, what 20-year-old straight dude is going to tell you that he loves Disney princesses?
Unless he actually loves them.
Yeah, unless he's like really into hentai with Disney princesses. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing. Like, I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I do know that, because there's a couple of Japanese bands I like, but they, I do know that, like, Japanese culture, like, everything's, like, super poppy, and that's what gets popular over there. Like, to be, like, a Japanese metal band and be popular in Japan, it has to be, like, super clean, super technical, like, stuff like Dragon Force type stuff, you know what I mean? And then, but like a band like Boris aren't popular in Japan. They're more popular over here. Like anything that's kind of like, I guess, alternative or like experimental or something gets more play over here. It's just they happen to be from Japan. But
man, as you know, is it me or did the Dragon Force lose a whole lot of kind of street cred when you had to do that thing in Guitar Hero where you had to do that solo for Through the Fire and Flames, and then like you see the actual video after the fact and you realize it's two people. And like you got to do it all by yourself on Guitar Hero, but then when you realize it's two people, it's like, bro, y'all just lost something because like I had to do all this by myself, and I know I'm not doing exactly what y'all did, but the fact that it's two of y'all instead of the one person that was me that had to get through this on Guitar Hero, it kind of lost something for me. And the fact that all of their songs sound exactly like Through the Fire and Flames. Like every single one of their songs sound exactly the same. Like, bro, do y'all make any other kind of songs? Do y'all make any slower songs? Like can y'all do a love song? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what? Dragon Force needs to do a cover of November Rain. You know what I mean? Like,
it would be like November Rain for 3 minutes and then like a 10-minute solo at the end.
Exactly. But you know what? I need y'all to do something. I need y'all to do something other than, the same thing. Cause like I've heard maybe about 5 or 6 songs from them and they all sound like Through the Fire and Flames. All of them.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, they all sound exactly the same, but it kind of lost a little something for me when I saw the video and I saw that it was two of them. It was two dudes going back and forth with the solo instead of one dude doing it all. I was way more impressed when I thought it was one dude.
Well, I mean, it's kind of impressive to go back and forth like that, you know, like to have that coordination with somebody else. Pretty impressive too. You know.
No, it's not really. It's really just like kind of waiting your turn. Is it really that impressive? If like, okay, you got this stretch, I got this stretch. You got this stretch, I got this stretch. And then we just gonna run this shit out for 10 minutes. Like the fact that they were able to do that for so long because that solo is long as a bitch, but like it just kind of lessens the whole thing when it's two dudes instead of one dude.
Yeah.
All right, man. So what else you want to talk about, man? I haven't played much in the past week or so. I haven't played much at all, to be honest.
Yeah, I just been playing Mass Effect. I finished 1 and started on 2, and that's pretty much what I was part of my Father's Day. I was just played Mass Effect 2 all day and ate barbecue, and we watched Ghostbusters. My son decided to sleep in a box.
I saw your Facebook post, and it had all of that in it. So if anybody doesn't know, follow Chase on his Facebook.
But yeah, so
because you can see pictures of all of the things that he just spoke about.
I went over to Dad's because Dad was going to come over, and then he wasn't because he has a bad back, so he never made it out. So I just took a plate over to him, and my amplifier cab is over there. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hook up this head and like actually play through this thing since I actually haven't played through it yet. And I did, and it sounded really good. So, but yeah, the cab is what has the speakers. The head is the actual knobs, the actual amplifier.
Okay.
If you see them together, it's called a combo, and normally that's like a small practice. Because when you have like 4 12s, if the head was actually connected to that, you wouldn't be able to lift it. Because the head by itself was fit on this table, but it's 30 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah, they're freaking heavy for how small they are. But yeah, it sounded really good, and only had it turned up like at 1, and it was super loud. So it did get pretty loud.
Word up.
And but yeah, I messing around with some mods on Mass Effect 2. I got one that pretty much just messed around with the colors. I guess that made them more contrasty, so the textures popped out more. But as I'm really thinking about it, it just made Shepard look old.
Okay.
I'm like, I can see his wrinkles, and he's not supposed to be wrinkly. He's like 29. Oh, what do you think? In the first game, he's 29. Second game's 2 years later. He was dead through that whole 2 years. Is he still 29 or is he 31?
In reality, he's 31. But because he was dead for 2 years, physically, well, no, because he had to be rebuilt physically.
Yeah. I would say he's 31, but some people say that shouldn't count because, you know, he wasn't actually here.
Yeah, but like he was like caught in the atmosphere and like his body was all fucked up and all that kind of stuff. So like, I don't know. I would say 31. Anyone who said that doesn't count, like obviously can't count.
They don't count.
Yeah, like it should count. Like, you know, it's still years. Yeah. Whether or not, you know, is years of his life. Whether or not he was there to live them is a completely different situation. But nah, if it's like I was born in 79. If, you know, if I go away from 2 years, if I go, like, say I get cryogenically frozen for a few years, when I wake up, I'm the age that I'm supposed to be. I'm not, like, even if I'm frozen and I don't physically age, there's still years of my life that's added to this. So no, I'm wrong with that.
Yeah. Has anybody ever actually, like, calculated up what Asari years would be in human years?
They live to be over 1,000.
Yeah, they do, but like say Shepard's 29, Tali's around 24. I think Miranda's like 35ish, but Liara is like 104. But what is that equivalent to? What I would think.
She's according to the way that they were trying to characterize it, she's still basically like a teenager to them. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, that's how they portrayed it in the first game.
So,
like,
so if Liara is like 18, she's like the youngest one technically.
Yeah, I mean, maturity. I guess you could say that. Like, I mean, are we trying to do this like a whole dog year?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to like figure out. You know, because.
But yeah, I guess you could say in her like personal maturity as her maturity as a person, you would say that she's you know, she's basically a teenager. But then that means that she still had a lot of life to live. Like if she's considered a teenager when she's 100. Yeah. What is she when she's, you know, 300? You know, right. Is that all considered like your teenage years? I don't know. Like that's like 100 years is like.
Well, they.
She's 10 years. Is she 10 years old comparatively? Like I don't know. This is really confusing. This is a topic that I didn't think that I would be trying to answer.
Yeah,
right now.
I guess the maiden years would probably be everything up to like 30. Then your matron years are like, or maybe it would be like everything up to 40 and then over 40 as matron. Because there's really those two, maiden and matron, and whatever they talk about. So, yeah. But yeah, and Morden, he's like 50. That's like freaking ancient for a Solarian. Because they don't really live.
Yes, because they don't live as long as the others.
But I don't think they normally live that long.
Well, I mean, they modeled his face after Clint Eastwood. So, like, they modeled his face after an old motherfucker in the first place. So they wanted him to appear as old as he was comparative to his race, I guess. So they made him look like Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, more than something else.
I saw a thing where the guy who does the male shepherd, he said that he's a comedic actor, does a lot of improv and stuff like that. And he said that originally he was there to provide the base and like help them figure out how all of these different races talk to each other and all of that kind of stuff. And like he was a part of like trying to figure out how the Solarians actually talked. And then and his voice was the placeholder for them to get another actor in to do male shepherd
They just decided to keep it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't even supposed to be him.
Steve!
Steve! You okay? I think it's fucked up that I never got the "you okay" on my last playthrough because I didn't talk to Steve enough. I didn't talk to Steve enough, and I didn't do the memorial and all that kind of. I didn't make it to the memorial and all that kind of stuff. So when Steve died last time I played. Last time I played 3, Steve actually died, which sucks. So I didn't get the "you okay." I just got the Steve.
Yeah, and I was thinking about the Krogan. You know, like the Krogan weren't really spacefaring, like when the whole Krogan rebellion and all that stuff. Like the weapons and stuff were gave to them to like use them as a tool. So that
against the Rachni, they were uplifted. They were uplifted by the Solarians to fight the Rachni because of their reproductive capabilities. When they reproduce so fast, they could just throw the Krogan at the Rachni until the Rachni would go away. That was the whole plan. And then then afterwards, after they got rid of the Rachni, then they started to get a little bit out of pocket. So then they had to, them and the Turians had to come up with a solution, and their solution was the genophage. So I know.
Because that would have been kind of like because if they left the Krogan alone, the Krogan could have evolved differently, and actually, so all of that was their fault.
It's kind of their fault. It's like. Okay, it's like you got a bully terrorizing your school.
Well, it's really like giving a bunch of guns to a bunch of cavemen.
No. But just wait. So you got a bully terrorizing your school, and no one seems to be able to deal with the bully. So you find a bigger kid and give that bigger kid some brass knuckles and say, "Go after the bully." Now the bigger kid who wasn't a bully just did what he could to take out a bully, and he got brass knuckles right now. And then that person turns out to be like, well, I just took out the bully. I guess I'm the new bully now. Like, maybe I should do some shit. Maybe I should keep taking over the school because now there's nobody to stop me because I took over the bully. I mean, because I beat the bully. And that's basically what happened, is just like they basically had to take they basically had to do something to make the new bully that they created bow down to the will of the rest of the galaxy, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think I've thought about brass knuckles in quite some time. Did anyone ever think that brass knuckles always seem like they hurt when you hit somebody? Like, did they hurt your hand? I know that the brass knuckles had that little piece that fit in your palm that made them stick out a little bit, so technically they didn't actually hit your hand. I mean, but like if you hit something, if you punch something, you would feel like your fingers would at least go to that, right?
I've never used them.
I've never used them. I put some on before, but I didn't hit any. Somebody from around the way had some brass knuckles, but like you just had them just to have them. Like nobody really wanted to use it. It's just like your friend, your friend that got the switchblade. Like, and the only thing you really want to do with the switchblade is do the flipping thing, or that's a butterfly knife. But like the part where you press the button and it flips out, and it pops out on its own. Like, only thing you really want to do is make it pop out. You don't really want to stab anybody. You just want to make the shit pop out. So like, I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
but yeah, they were as evolved as like a caveman would be. Like, so,
yeah.
So yeah, they weren't even, when like the Reapers talked about like, oh, like spacefaring creatures with a bunch of technology, the Krogan were not that.
Yeah, they weren't even like, they weren't even an afterthought until they were uplifted. Right. Which, I mean, all of this stuff is like super interesting, and I wish there was more, I don't know, I wish there was more content, I guess you would say, not necessarily in the video games, but like, more like Mass Effect, like TV shows and movies that covered some of this stuff.
Well, they did some comics, but it's mostly just between 2 and 3. They need to do some like like Knights of the Old Republic type stuff, like where it goes back.
Yeah, like do the First Contact War stuff. That was one of their ideas for 3, that they were going to do the First Contact War. But I don't think a First Contact War in a video game form would be interesting. Because especially as going back and doing a prequel, because First Contact War was just us against the Turians, but we know Turians to be our friends. The best sidekick is a Turian. The best sidekick in all of the games is a Turian. And then now we beefing? For real?
Yeah. If they wanted to do First Contact War, they should have did that first, and then have the Mass Effect trilogy to be something new, to where you're now you're having to be friends with the enemies from the first 3 games.
No, they had to do it the way that they did it, and I completely understand it. And I really liked the prequel novel. At the time did I read it? I read it. I think I actually read it. The prequel novel that came out before the game came out. And it's mostly it's about Anderson being up for being the first Spectre and what Saren did.
Yeah.
That conversation that you have in 1, that book was about that.
Cool. Yeah. What's that called? Because I might like to read that actually.
I'll look it up.
But yeah, it every time I play through the game, I'm like, wow, there's a lot here. In the codex and stuff, there's
yes.
There's a world there, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, did you watch any E3 stuff?
I only watched Microsoft. I was not really in on E3. E3 was just Revelation was the first one. Mass Effect Revelation.
I think I might have that on my book.
It's possible because it's there. And it's been around for a while. I think I read it. That was back when I was reading a lot of video game novels. I started reading a lot of video game novels when Isabel came through and knocked the power out. And that's when I started actually reading and stuff like that. But I think I listened to the audiobook later. I possibly still have the audiobook somewhere. If you want to get down, just remind me at a time when I can take a look. Shit, I forgot what I was saying.
Mass Effect? Oh, E3. You something about E3.
Oh, yeah, I watched Microsoft because, Sony didn't have one. I was not really interested in anything Nintendo had to say. I did watch pieces of EA's, which was just a snooze fest. It was an absolute snooze fest.
Yeah, how they presented it was, even though it wasn't stuff that I was interested in, I mean, the Battlefield maps do look pretty, but I'm not really, into that, any sort of competitive thing at all anymore. And then the new Star Wars game does look cool, but yeah, it was just.
Yeah, I watched that and then I was just well, I guess I'm done until maybe Madden. I left and went to the store. You know what I mean? After that, I left and went to the store, came back, watched the Madden stuff, watched the Sims stuff. But I think the part that they did themselves a disservice was mapping out everything that they were going to talk about. Cause there was not really very much in the way of a surprise. Cause it was just okay, at this time we're going to talk about this and this time we're going to talk about that. So there was no big announcements.
And they're talking
EA.
about stuff that's already out. They talked, because we watched EA after the fact. I watched Microsoft and Bethesda and Square Enix hearing it live because I was doing that with Fred. But everything else I watched after the fact because, and we fast forward through the Apex Legends stuff. That had to been 30 minutes or an hour and talking about Apex Legends. So I was what can you guys talk about on Apex Legends? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't, I just wasn't excited for E3. Like I just wasn't excited at all. I think we're at a point where
It's the end of
like
the cycle,
we
basically.
don't need to wait for like these big
Yeah.
announcements. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you have an announcement, you can make it. And like, or you could do the Nintendo thing and do a direct. I know PlayStation tried to do one of those and it was just like, we're going to talk about this. And most of it's going to be about VR shit that no one cares about. So like, okay. I enjoyed Microsoft's presentation.
Yeah.
I wish Sony was around. I typically shit all over Sony. Like, no matter what, I typically shit all over Sony. But just them not being there was just a huge blow to, like, me caring anything about E3.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Microsoft's was good. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I almost just want them just to tell me what they're going to talk about and not make it a big spectacle. And
yeah, like the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, because like most of the stuff we know about already, like we're just basically waiting for a release date, and that's what we got. Like with the Cyberpunk release date, and you know, the Obsidian game looks cool, but I don't know.
But come on, man. When they did the Cyberpunk thing and then Keanu Reeves just walked out on the fucking stage, it's like, yo.
Yeah, and
that was crazy.
He was having so much fun. He was just like, I know the words that's going to make these guys scream. He'd be like, CD Projekt Red. He'd be like, Cyberpunk.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for that game. But I am a little weary, like, just to like in the back of my head, because only thing they've ever done has been great, but only thing they've ever done has been medieval, and it's also been third person. So they're doing like a style of game they've never done before, in a setting they've never done before. But I'm
just tired of hearing about it and not actually seeing anything. Like you can show me a trailer all day long, but like, where's the game? I get very much.
They showed like an hour worth of gameplay.
But most of it was shown behind the scenes, and then everybody who got to see it got to explain what happened, but it's not like you saw a whole lot.
Right. But yeah, I do know certain people are pissed off at the game, which is kind of got to the point to where you're like, if you're over here, you're pissed off at over there, and everything over there is offending you. If you're over here, everything over here is offending you. So the people that get offended by Cyberpunk are offended basically that, okay, it's called Cyberpunk, based on the Cyberpunk RPG, which is pretty much where you got the name Cyberpunk for the genre. In pretty much anything that's in that genre, you have cybernetics, you have body modification, and one of the main things is, well, you could be a guy that decides that he's going to change his voice box out to be a female's voice, or maybe you're a girl that wants a dick, or a guy that wants a vagina, and you can do all that because it's Cyberpunk, and people are offended thinking that they're pushing transgender stuff on people. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. And that kind of what an RPG is, like, to like
right,
do what you want to, and it kind of fits the lore that, like, in this world, like, if you're a guy that wants to become a woman, that's a big choice. You're never going to come back from that. But in this world, it's not that big of a choice. One day you can be a guy, and the next day you can be a girl. You know, you just got to swap out a part. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's just like people always just want to be mad about something. Like, I ain't even tripping about this shit.
To the point to where like everyone complains that the SJWs are offended by everything, but now it's like the anti-SJWs are offended by everything.
Right. It's just, it's the people who are always saying that these people are offended by everything are the same people who are offended by everything. Like each side says the same thing about the other, no matter what.
Yeah. And I'm just like, the game looks awesome. What do you guys? More player choice. Like if you want no player choice to where it's this and nothing else, then well, you got Call of Duty coming out this year.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Part of what we're talking about was covered in that episode of Black Mirror where they really get into it. I love how I had a couple people, Mike J mostly, send me a message that he actually watched the episode, and like people who watch the episode after, like, because I don't spoil anything, I just say that they play this virtual reality fighting game and they really get into it, and I don't and so that's not like a spoiler. They just really get into this this virtual reality fighting game. But like when people realize what I'm actually talking about, it's fucking hilarious. But it's the same thing as like, you know, guys going into MMOs as a female character because dweebs give them shit. You know what I mean? Like, you could already do this. So like, why are you mad if I can switch out some parts where like, how many dudes you know play a female character in the first place? I know dudes who play female characters in third person games because if I'm going to stare at somebody's ass for hours, I might as well stare at a woman's ass for hours.
Right.
My cousin who plays a Division, he plays a female character. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with who he is. He just rather look at a woman instead of be staring at a man's ass.
And like, it won't less than 10 years ago where, you know, in Mass Effect, you could be a female Shepard. Like, that is a character. Commander Shepard is a character, but you can be a female version of that character. Nobody gave a shit. And everybody actually liked the female one more. But now it's like totally turned to where if you have a female in a game at all, everyone's pissed off.
And wasn't it in Fable 2?
That's kind of...
Fable 2. In Fable 2, there was a place where there's a place that was like really expensive if you could buy it. If you buy it and like went to like the basement or the cellar or whatever like that, there was a potion that you could drink and it would turn you into the opposite sex. Why was that in the game? Who the fuck knows? But it was there.
Because like you might want to be like, well, actually, I don't like playing as a dude. And then you're like, I kind of want to make a female character. But instead of starting completely over, you can just switch it out. I mean, it's more player choice. You guys are like complaining about stuff that actually helps you.
I don't really see the problem. But like, we're in an age where everybody want to be mad about something. So they just gonna find something to be mad about. This shit, I don't even look. I think Cyberpunk is vaporware until I actually see a game physically available or digitally available. Cyberpunk is going to stay vaporware for
Vaporware
me.
Sounds like something that would be in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's just like the game has been talked about so long that it can't possibly live up to expectations. It's Duke Nukem Forever. You know what I mean? It's fucking Alien Colonial Marines. You know what I mean? Like these games that take years and years and years. What's that Sony game that came out that it was not as good as people had hoped?
Guardian?
Yeah, The Last Guardian. Like all of these games that have been announced and they talk about them year after year after year after year and they don't actually come out. When they finally come out,
Cyberpunk's
never what
been
anybody
talked about
expect.
for like 3 years. Last Guardian was talked about for like a decade and a half.
Cyberpunk has been talked about for a long fucking time. Like I mean, maybe it just feels like forever. It's possible that it just feels that way, but Cyberpunk feels like it's on that same level.
Like, and Witcher 3 came out in 2015, so it hasn't been that long. It just feels like a long time.
So I don't know. It's just, it's just one of those things to where I'm not a fan of CD Projekt Red. I'm not a fan. I don't typically love fantasy games, so I never could get into The Witcher. And I know like a lot of people trust them, and I'm just gonna be like, all right. I mean, if this is more of my speed, then I'm gonna roll with that.
Well, I think a lot of the trust comes in is that they self-publish. You know, they don't really have a Activision or a EA over them ever. They're kind of like doing their own thing at all times. But
yeah, it's just like, I don't know, like people just gonna be mad about anything. Like I saw people being mad about something recently, and I was just like, really? Like, y'all mad about that? Like, for real? Like, I can't even remember what it was, but it's always something. Like, somebody's always mad about something. And I'm just over it. Like, I'm just really, really over it. I'm over just constantly being mad about absolutely nothing. That's how I feel about all of this stuff. Like, I got real shit going on right now. Like, I got some real shit going on in my life. I can't be fucking mad about a video game that's never coming out. Like, you know what I mean? Am I really gonna be mad about a video game that's never coming out? Who has time for this shit? Like, I'm a fucking adult with like bills and fucking like shit to do, and like I'm a parent. Like, why the fuck do I care about any of this? Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't get, people take this video game shit way too fucking seriously. People take this movie shit way too seriously. There's a thing going on right now where somebody tried to put out a hit piece on YouTubers, saying that the YouTubers use negative stuff for publicity, basically. And like, you know, they got really fucking upset about it. But like, a couple of those dudes that were in the piece absolutely do that. Like, absolutely fucking do that. But people were just like upset. And I was just like, what is y'all mad about? Like, somebody wrote an article about you. If it's wrong, go to your YouTube channel and say, this shit is wrong. It's not who I am. It's not what I do.
Who
because
were they talking about?
they were talking about a few people, but they were talking about Angry Joe and the Quartering and all of that stuff. What's his name? What's his name? I can't think of his name. Did someone just say that Jim Carrey passed?
That's what they said, but
I don't see nothing to say that.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Like, whatever.
Yeah, because I don't see nothing to say that. Ain't no way in hell that Jim Carrey would pass, and ain't nobody got nothing to say.
Yeah, normally you like go right to Wikipedia and it'll say you looking for that was an actor. You know what I mean? It says is.
Yeah. I don't know. I went to TMZ, to be honest, because I figured.
Yeah, you're right.
TMZ
they
would
definitely be the first ones.
Yeah. So I don't know what that is. I lost my place again. I can't remember what I was talking about. Oh, well, you know what? It don't even matter. I was talking about people being mad about everything. Yeah, it's just stupid.
Well, Angry Joe, that's kind of in his name.
Yeah, but his content is like Angry Joe, and like he was named in this, and some of the other ones, it was somebody else, somebody that I watch his videos sometimes, but sometimes he gets a little bit, he kind of goes a little bit off the edge. Clean Prince.
Yeah. Clean
Prince was the one who put out the initial video that I saw about all of this stuff. And I'm just like, I understand Clean Prince. Like, you know, he got checked a long time ago about, like, you know, a lot of things that he was doing on his channel, and he kind of switched it up. And I'm like, all right, cool. But that motherfucker, the Quartering, he is the anti SJW. He is that guy who's like extremely anti SJWs. He is 100% that guy.
Yeah.
And he used that to like he used that in like, if you look at any of his videos, look at the comments. It looks like Fox News in a like video game in like nerddom form, but it looks like fucking Fox News. And he basically does the Fox News thing. Maybe it's what he actually fucking believes. I truly don't believe that he's a bad guy. I think he just believes some bullshit, but like, he absolutely is this person.
It's kind of like
he's
there's a Warhammer dude that like a lot of his videos are really good in like explaining Warhammer lore and stuff like that. But every chance he gets, he wants to shit on feminism all the time. I'm like, yeah, like nobody likes a militant feminist, but I'm here for Warhammer lore, not your stance on feminism. You know, you like, know your audience. Well, I guess he knows his audience now because he probably gets a lot of incels in there. But like, I came here for Warhammer.
Yeah, and see, like, here's the thing. Like, I'm not one of those people that when the election came around, I got rid of all of my friends who were conservative and or a Trump supporter. I didn't do that. I wouldn't do that because I wouldn't want nobody to get rid of me because I liked Obama. Right. You know what I mean? I didn't think Obama was going to really do anything, but I liked Obama. And like, I don't like Trump. I don't like him. I don't like him on a personal level.
People like me, I don't
like the person.
Don't really get the publicity. Like the extremes get the publicity. But, the right hears the extreme left, the left hears the extreme right, and everybody on the left thinks all conservative people are alt-righters, and everybody on the right thinks all people on the left are like militant feminists. And
I'm just kind of in between. Like, I don't get what the big fuss is about. Like, y'all doing a little bit too much for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just all weird. And like, the fucked up part about it is like that the quartering dude. There was something else that happened that involved Clean Prince, and he mentioned that dude. So I went to his YouTube to see what his response to all of this was. And I watched like one of his videos, and he seemed like a jerk. Like, he already seemed like a jerk. And I was just kind of like, And then like, I watched like 2 more of his videos. Like, if I start watching somebody, I give you 3 videos or podcasts or whatever to determine whether I'm going to keep listening to you. Because like, you could be just in a real fucked up mood one day, and that might be the podcast that I listen to, or that might be the video that I watch. So I give you 3. I gave him 3, and God, I wish I didn't do any of that. Like, I really did. And then they started like, they start suggesting videos to me from him because I watched 3 of his videos. They started suggesting other stuff on YouTube, and like, just by the titles alone, I was just like, I can't fuck with this dude at all. And it was like around the time when Captain Marvel was getting ready to come out. Yeah. And she said that she didn't want to talk to she didn't really care what white men had to say. Because the white men are the kind of the nerd quotient that would rail against something like that. Like the nerd quotients that are still like still making fucking videos about the current Star Wars movies. You know what I mean? Like those dudes. Like, and that's what she was saying. And I understood what she was saying, because the majority of those people that are still doing that, calling old girl a Mary Sue and all of this other dumb shit, they're pretty much white males. So she said that. And then like, I watched one of those videos where he was talking about that, and I was like, this is just fucking stupid. And then like, then I started getting suggestions for all of this shit and all of these people that are doing the same thing. And I was just like, how the fuck did I get here? Because I watched one fucking YouTube video.
Right.
Like, it's like, so like, you can say that, one person's thing is not equal to another.
And like, you can list all of these people who were in this hit piece, and you can say that they don't deserve it. Except for the motherfucking Quartering. That motherfucker deserves every bit of this shit. And like, and I know too, someone like the Quartering, I'm an absolute fucking nobody. I'm an absolute fucking nobody. And that's good. I'd rather be a fucking nobody than to be anything like the Quartering.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so
I was just looking to see if I have seen any of this dude's video. I just wanted to see what he looked like. And actually, I have, I think. I think the video I just watched about the Cyberpunk thing was him. Yep. That was him. But he was
the one that
was on the other side to where he was actually like, he doesn't get the controversy. Like, why are people mad about this? So yeah,
oh shit, drop my vape. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, he doesn't seem like, from what I watched, he doesn't seem like he's like this. Is like what I was talking about with my daughter. Like, he doesn't seem like he's this person in real life. Like, he seems like there's a character that he's playing. He knows his base. Like, he knows his base, and he caters to his base. It's the Fox News thing. You know your people. Yeah. You know the people that watch your shit. Like, do all of them actually believe the shit that they smell?
Is it a thing for him to like correct what if he messes up or something? Start over, and then not edit it out.
I don't know. I only watched those couple of videos months ago, so I can't really say.
Because he did that a couple of times where he would like mess up something, he would stop and re-say what he said, but it sounded like he was going to start so he can edit it out and then continue on, but he never edits it. But I don't know.
I think I just broke my vape. It won't turn back on.
That sucks.
I mean, this is my backup vape. It's not my vape.
But yeah, so like this last video was actually on the other side, so he wasn't like railing against Cyberpunk. He was like actually not really understanding why that it's a controversy. So maybe he's changed up a little bit.
I don't know. I know what I watched, and I'm just kind of like, I can't rock with this dude. That's all. Like, I don't know anything else about this dude. All I know is what I've watched, and what I watched made me not ever want to watch anything else of his ever again. That's just the real of it, I guess. But I mean, if you care about the Quartering, like, it's not like I'm gonna be like, well, we can't be cool no more because you like the Quartering.
Well,
fuck no.
I'm not subscribed to him. I just saw the video on my feed and was like, well, let me see what people are mad about Cyberpunk, and it was only a 12-minute video, so I was like, yeah, I can do this. And so yeah, I just watched it, and I was like, I think this guy from the video earlier. There.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Can we end this on a happy note?
Happy.
I watched the 3 episodes of. I finally watched all of the 3 episodes of the current Black Mirror, and they all have like these weirdly kind of not necessarily positive, not necessarily happy, but they don't have like the technology is going to kill us vibe to them. And I kind of dig it. Like, I don't rank it as high as some of the other seasons, but I really kind of dig it.
Ooh.
I really kind of dig like it not being doom and gloom. You know what I mean? I mean, you can look at technology like it's all gonna kill us, or you can be like, man, shit just happened. Like, you know, and I think it's cool. Shit just happened.
Ooh.
But I really enjoyed that. I did watch The Umbrella Academy.
And that thing that's sort of like kick ass a little bit, where it's like darker superheroes, but they're like not really heroes.
No, it's kind of like a weird X-Men. Yeah. It's kind of like a weird X-Men. Is, you know, because they have actual powers, so it's not like a kick-ass type thing where it was just regular people who decided to be heroes.
But they're still not like, you know, like Superman, like Justice. They have all sorts of problems and shit. Like, they have issues and stuff.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't really want to spoil anything. I did have some of the original comics. This is back when I had like a big backlog of comics, and like I never got a chance to read them. So I do have a few of the comics, but they're in my storage unit way in the back corner, so I can't actually read the comics. But I do have some. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was different. I thought it was just a completely different take on superheroes, because it wasn't just like these people. Like you said, they do have flaws. They're all people, which is interesting,
Right.
you know? So yeah. You got something for the people before we get out?
I think I'm good, man. You know,
I broke my mind, man.
should we say something for your?
I don't know. Just like, it's not.
Oh, I tried out that Game Pass beta thing. You know,
The game,
because for $1 it would like match your whatever you had gold for with Game Pass Ultimate.
I needed to do that. I needed to do the Game Pass Ultimate because I was already paying monthly for the Game Pass and my
But now I have
my live was about to run out.
I had gold, I had Game Pass till September. Now I have Game Pass Ultimate till September for $1.
Word up.
So yeah, I tried it out on the PC and I downloaded a couple of games just to see if it'll work. The actual app is a little loosey-goosey because of it's in beta, but I mean games downloaded fine, and it weren't games that I think would just be optimized. Just so I downloaded the Messenger and I downloaded Void Bastards because I knew that those aren't really like Microsoft centric games. Like if anything's going to mess up, it's going to be these games, and they installed and played fine. So. And they're the PC version, so which is kind of crazy, you know. Not just like
yeah. I mean, you would think that they would be able to pull this off. Like, I mean, they're Microsoft, so I guess you know what I mean. Like, I don't see why they wouldn't be able to pull this off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I need to do that. I have not really been, like I said, I haven't played much in the past week, even with all of the EA stuff. I mean E3 stuff. I haven't played much, but I really do need to set up my Game Pass stuff with my live because it's I think my live was about to run out right around the time of E3.
Well, if you do and it does work for you, since I have gold until September as well, since that's what's part of Ultimate, you can finish Gears 2 if you want to.
Well, we could have finished Gears 2 at any point except for you didn't have live for a while.
I know, but now I do, so now we can.
Fine. All right, I'm gonna see if I can reset this fucking thing, because I broke it. I really broke it. I mean, it's my cheap one. Thank goodness it wasn't my Revenger. It was my iJoy little plastic fucking thing, but it's broken.
It broke just like knocking it over on a desk?
It fell on the floor. Yeah, it fell all the way on the floor. And it's not turning on anymore.
Well, that sucks, man.
So, kind of I wanted something different anyway.
Yeah.
So I ain't tripping. I'm not really tripping that hard. And I still have my Revenger. Like, if I didn't have one, I would be really fucking upset right now. But nah, I'm cool. So, yeah, I think that's the show. I think this conversation has went some different places. And I appreciate having someone to actually have this conversation with instead of talking to myself. That is something that I think I can do, but it was just kind of weird.
Yeah, well, the only reason I was out is because all the E3 stuff, and every year I do.
Because you cheated on me with Rojas.
Well, every year, like, I want to.
You cheated on me with Rojas.
You can come in on next year on the Xbox podcast. You're gonna be in there.
I was on fucking Xbox Live with the homies.
Well, you'll be on Rojas's podcast.
Be with us.
She said, "Scar, come be with us."
that was just kind of random, like out the blue. And, like I was just, it was a little weird. But you know, I could do that, or you know, like watch a replay with y'all if I'm not with the homies. You know,
Well, I mean,
but like, is anyone with the way that we felt about E3 this year? Is anybody going to care next year?
well, next year is probably going to be the big year to where like they're going to really talk about Xbox 2 or whatever, or PlayStation 5 and all that kind of stuff. 'Cause that's one reason this year is kind of like, is because this, this generation is ending. And I'm hoping next generation is better. Like, there were some good games that come out, but I think the Xbox One / PS4 generation has been fairly lackluster.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm mostly playing games from the 360 generation, and the games that do come out of this generation, yeah, I'll play through them, and they're good and stuff. I mean, but hopefully this new generation, we're going to really push the boundaries of... because we're really there on things looking realistic. Things don't need to get more realistic. They need to work on like load times and things that like just make gaming more enjoyable.
No, I think what they really needed to do is not get sidetracked. I think Microsoft fucked up everything when they got sidetracked. That's random. But I think the generation got sidetracked when they were underpowered, and then they made this whole generation about power. And it didn't really make it about games. This generation has not really been about games.
Yeah, they started out the whole generation being like, well, the gaming console is going to be like your everything box, rather.
Yeah, and then they had to drop everything. They had to drop everything to make a better box, and that sidetracked them from doing what they wanted to do.
Did you think that because they're releasing a Fortnite Xbox, that the Fortnite Xbox should have been the one without the disc? I mean,
there was no part of me.
I mean, but don't
there's
you?
no part of me that cares.
Yeah, but
there's no part of me that cares. There was zero part of me that cares.
But don't you think that would have been the game to release a discless console with, which is a digital game, a digital free game?
I guess it makes sense, but like, I'm pretty sure that they have like a bunch of regular consoles just kind of sitting around. It's just like, well, this is a way that we can get rid of that.
So let's end this thing, man. We've actually had a pretty lengthy podcast today.
Yeah. So, shout out to all the people. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate being able to do this for y'all. And we'll be back in your ear holes next week. This, for the homie Chase, I'm Scarfinger. This is Scarcasm. Peace out to the Warriors, yo.
Later.
I like that shit, yeah, boy. Look, I'm telling you, Whoa. I'm telling. All right, I ain't gonna talk.